What's up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. This is the aftermath, and it's the aftermath of an unexpected cliffhanger. Patriots holding on 24-23 in a game against the Atlanta Falcons. Y'all saw it. Why am I telling you who they played or what the score was? You know what happened out there. We're going to get all into it. We're going to talk about the mistakes made. We're going to talk about why this could have been a 35-7 lead early in the third quarter and was instead a tighter game than necessary. We're going to talk about the injuries the Patriots suffered. Will it have ramifications on their trade deadline plans? But first, Mike Vrabel.
It's a funny league, and we're gonna learn from winning so that we don't have to learn from losing. About taking care of the ball and complementary football and how quickly things can change. End of the half, we take a nap like we talked about the other day. We took a little nap and they scored and made it a one possession game, and give them a lot of credit, but give our guys credit there for finishing and coming up big when we had to in the fourth quarter. With the pressure, the intentional grounding forced them to punt, and then offensively being able to finish with the football was huge.
That right there is Phil Perry. Sometimes I call him the senator. He's never had a problem with it, so I'm going to keep going with it. Phil, prior to the game, I said, how long can this go on? About the Patriots and their blowing teams out and their good fortune and flawless offensive play. And it didn't go on. It changed a little bit. There was a mistake by the quarterback when he got sneak attacked and fumbled and turned into a touchdown.
Yeah.
And there were injuries, and there was a missed field goal, and they had to profit from that. What kind of win? What kind of win was this?
This is a good win because this is a win in the NFL, in the National Football League. They're all good, and you have to be happy with it. That being said, you can learn a lot from it, as Vrabel was alluding to there. There's a lot in this game, to me, that can get cleaned up, and that needs to get cleaned up if they want to be this team that remains near the top of the conference and that remains in the conversation when you see the social media posts. Which team's the best in the AFC? Well, the Patriots are going to need to play a cleaner brand of football moving forward if they want to remain in that conversation. Because they will see, not often, but they will see a few times down the road here, Tom, teams better than this one. This was probably the best team they've seen the last month, but they'll see a better team next week. They'll see a Bills team at the end of the year that, as we speak, is just rolling against the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to see the Ravens probably with Lamar Jackson. So do you want to stay in that conversation?
And
that's kind of it. So if you want to stay in that conversation, you've got to do a better job against better competition, and the Falcons represented a little bit better competition than what they've seen to this point.
And this is where Phil and I diverge, folks. I look at this game, and I think that the devil in the details is that the Patriots actually manhandled them. And the only reason this was close was because of the mistakes they made. And I echo Ted Johnson's point in the postgame where he said this shows how good the team is. They can play bad and still win against a capable, not a good team, but a mediocre team in Atlanta. As I said, the Patriots were just boat racing the Falcons. It's 21-7. They have a nice little drive going. Sneak attack, strip sack.
I love how you call it a sneak attack. Like it was like something we've never seen before. It was a game up front, and Jalen Walker is incredibly explosive. He did get from point A to point B.
He was only about 3 feet tall.
In a blink.
He came through there like
Napoleon? Like what? Yeah.
He came through there like Chucky.
Yeah.
He was very low. Drake Maye didn't see him, and he would gangway. Tried to get out of the way, strip sack. So it should have been 24-7 at least. Could have been upwards of 28-7. Instead, it's 21-14. We wondered at halftime how the Patriots would respond. They responded with a 12-play drive that stagnated. They settled for a field goal, 24-14. And then, interestingly, you had a Drake Maye turnover, which turned into a touchdown going the other way. It wasn't like they turned it over way deep, but, quick change. So then you had what you were dealing with there for a little bit. What's my point there? Then you had that was dealing with
and
it.
then,
So it was 24-17. Correction, 24-17 because they don't get a field goal off the May interception. But I look at this game, and you had a couple of mistakes. You had some injuries. You had spectacular individual plays made time and time again by Drake London and Bijan Robinson. And I'm looking at them like, yeah, the Patriots didn't play bad. They kind of boat raced them, and this is an apparition that they're this close here at the end. But maybe I'm the dummy, because John Parker Romo missed a friggin' extra point. They could have lost this thing too. So help me.
Well, I think there are, in your defense, and this would be to buttress your argument, there were some kind of extenuating circumstances here, which feel like easy fixes. Number one, the first two touchdowns that Drake Maye caught, the Falcons did a good job, I thought, especially on the first
Drake
one.
London.
Sorry, Drake London, the other Drake. His first two touchdowns, he ends up with Marcus Jones on him instead of Christian Gonzalez. That feels like a pretty easy, any Joe Blow can watch the game and say, maybe figure out a way to get your best corner on their best receiver in the red zone? I don't know. I mean, like, there are different ways to play that, and so, the Falcons did a good job, especially on the first one, to make sure that they got the matchup that they wanted. The second one was very strange, and I'm looking forward to asking Mike Vrabel about it on Monday, because I don't believe he was asked about it in his postgame today. It looked like Marcus Jones was locked on to Drake Maye from the start of that play.
London.
Drake London. Drake Maye doesn't play receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm sorry, audience.
He's versatile.
He probably could. So that to me feels like the kind of easy fix that would work in your favor to say, they shouldn't be scoring at will in the red zone like that. They just have to make one simple change that any flag football coach could make. And, you move forward and you say, problem solved. You also could look at it and say Drake Maye could do a better job of just holding on to the football on that strip sack at the end, and that saves him 7 points too. So it's two or three decisions, whether on the field or on the sideline, that turn this game from a 1-point win to a 14-20, somewhere thereabouts kind of win for New England.
Yep. And there are concrete issues, though. We're not trying to whistle past the graveyard, pretend the New England Patriots are, the 2014 version, and it's just a matter of time before they flex their muscles and they're, completely impenetrable. They're a team that has allowed now 12 sacks of their quarterback in 2 weeks. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the red zone. We're going to get into some of the injuries. Fortunately, as you guys probably see, Christian Gonzalez spoke in the postgame, so he will be intact, one supposes, for next week's game. But let's talk about Drake Maye by listening to Drake Maye. Better than us talking about it, let's listen to the man himself.
First, I just play better. Man, I got to play better for this team. Down the road. I think, it's tough. It's tough in a game where you win, and you can feel in that locker room that these guys know we can play better. And I think it's a good feeling to have, but also at the same time, it's tough to win in this league, so you got to enjoy it.
So here's what impressed me about Drake Maye's day. Again, some brilliant throws, the touchdown pass to Demario Douglas, the mobility, the scramble where it looked like he was dying to go down and just kept going, I should be going down, but I think I got another chance to get another 5 yards here. And he did it. So those excellent plays. Then the confidence at the end of the game and his resiliency despite the gaffes. That confidence at the end of the game I look at to make throws like he did to Hunter Henry. No happy feet, no ball padding, no wondering whether or not it was the right thing to do. No tiny little wet spot down the inner thigh of his pants because he was, nervous about anything. He just makes the plays. How do you so drastically change from jittery Drake to just completely composed? I think it has a lot to do with what we've seen the last few weeks.
Yes, and so he has banked some confidence. Maybe that allows him to feel the way he was feeling at the end of that game. And I did think it was, and Vrabel mentioned this, the timing on that play, because Hunter Henry has to kind of haul ass to get almost to the sideline on that flat route, and he doesn't. It's not like his head is turned and he's looking at Maye the whole way there. So Maye has to wait and be patient. Henry has to wait to kind of finish his route and catch it at the right time. And so I thought it was a great job by both those guys at the very end. But there were some hiccups at the end. They had an opportunity to kind of drain the clock and run away with this thing on the series before, Tom, and they went 3 and out. 4 plays, a minute off the clock. Kyle Williams, right? They don't connect. And so is that on Drake Maye? Is it on Kyle Williams? I'm with you. It's probably on Kyle Williams if he misses that badly. Generally speaking, that doesn't happen. But I don't know. There's not a whole lot of rhythm there, it felt like, with their offense at that point in the game. Remember that on the third down play, into the flat, he tries to get it over the defender. He really can't get it over Jalen Walker, who's not a huge guy. We just talked about it. That's Napoleon coming off the edge for Atlanta, apparently. Sneak attack. I'm going to knock this thing down incomplete. You're going back to the sideline suddenly. So good for him for sort of picking himself up off the mat when they had nothing going offensively. They scored 3 points on their first drive in the second half, and that was it.
That's what's that to me is, if I'm a Patriots observer, which I am, or a Patriots fan, which you people are. You people. What does that mean?
What do you mean, you people?
Which our listeners are, our beloved listeners and viewers. You're looking at it and going, okay, you know what? Stop turd polishing over there. They scored 3 points in the second half. So cut the crap. Drake Maye, however, was buttressed. I don't know what buttress was propped up by the Mike Vrabel bedside manner. You saw it on the telecast, Mike Vrabel going over to Maye after the pick, getting in his face a little bit and giving him the, you're all right. We're okay. You're okay. We're okay. It's okay. Okay? Here is Drake Maye on Mike Vrabel's bedside manner.
He's great at coming up to me after, really every drive. He comes over and says something to me. Always positive, always want me to rally the guys around me, always, challenging me to, battle adversity and get the guys going. And I think, I just appreciate the way he coaches me. He's hard on me, but he's, very positive, and I think he wants the best out of me, and everything that he says to me, I think it's gone to be important and become true.
It's the honeymoon period for this team right now. I mean, it's nobody gets yelled at. I mean, they get yelled at. They must get yelled at. But Mike has done such an unbelievable job of investing faith and trust in these guys as long as they work his program, that things are going to work out for them. And it doesn't matter whether it's Maye, and it has worked out for him, or Pop Douglas, or Ramondre Stevenson, or Will Campbell. Can you show me a guy? Okay, Javon Baker. Can you show me a guy that Mike has not invested some trust in, who might have been having performance issues, so to speak, and then turned around later and rewarded his trust? I mean, these are the good old days for Mike Vrabel's coaching tenure here.
The good old days, and you never know when you're in the good old days while you're in the good old days. But I would say, I think Drake Maye, Tom, has probably already, with what he's done this season, moved past ever being berated. I could see if things were going poorly and they were losing. You're calling this the honeymoon period. Even if they lose and Drake Maye's making the mistakes, do you see Mike Vrabel getting after him in a certain kind of way? Or has he already earned his trust and forevermore have that trust?
Exasperation is always just around the corner. Speaking as one who gets exasperated. Okay. And I think if the Patriots hit a skid, look, how often do you get exasperated with me?
Never. Easy.
How often do you get exasperated with me?
How often do I? But you have my trust. And so even if I'm exasperated, even if I'm frustrated, it never leads to me pointing the finger and sticking it in your chest.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it personal and go home and say, F that guy. I'm not working with him anymore. I'd come back the next day and say, yeah, my bad. We got to work on that.
In the same way, Bill, how often did Bill really, we know he did it, behind the scenes, but did he berate him on the sideline in the moment,
No, but I think not talking to a person can be worse than a berating.
Yeah, that's true. That was his way of handling it.
But
you never would have seen that, hand on the shoulder. Hey, look at me. We're going to be all right. This is going to be fine. You're going to go win the game for us later today.
Right.
I wonder if that's just now happening the way it's happening because it's the honeymoon period, or if that's just the way Vrabel coaches. It's hard for me to know, having not covered him and seen him in the middle of bad times before.
I just think he has such an innate sense of what you need to give people to get something out of them. And Bill did too. Bill built up plenty of young players who were middling or less than middling. I mean, imagine what he must have said to Stephen Neal to prop him up as a former wrestler who had never played football, organized football really, to turn him into a borderline Pro Bowl guard and a Super Bowl winner. I mean, imagine the faith that he showed in him. So it's not like Bill never did that. But the way Vrabel's bedside manner has been rewarded by Steph Diggs, and I just rattled through all the other guys, Pop Douglas, who talked about it today. It's really interesting. We're going to kind of keep ripping through this. And here's one other thing I'm going to follow with Vrabel in the bedside manner because it was a good quote. Roll it, Case.
Don't let anybody take the joy of what we do. Joy is authentic. Joy comes from these guys caring about each other, being happy for the guy next to him that made a play. Joy is about what we do in here, and I think that they need to embrace that and be thankful for what they get to do and what I get to do. And we talked about sometimes you get this taken away from you. Whether you're a player and you get cut, or you're a coach and you get fired and you get another opportunity. You want to try to make the most of it and enjoy it.
You wouldn't believe how cranky I was before this program started. Sundays I get real dinkish at the end of the post-game show.
Look at you now, though.
Just trying to put turd polishing. Who's trying to take their joy, Phil? Who do you think's going to try and take their joy?
You?
Who do you think he's talking about?
You. You're on the post game today talking about what if they lost? I think that's exactly what he's talking about.
Well, but I think that's a fair question.
I think it's a fair question too. I felt like I was the only one on the post game show today that was saying, "Hey, they didn't play all that great."
Miami, they didn't play great, and they almost lost. That one was different. One side of the ball played like ass in Miami, and they escaped. This game, nobody played like ass. They just got two incredible individual offensive performances that they were up against with Robinson and Drake London. And they had one catastrophic mistake with the strip sack. So, but the reason I mentioned it today is it would be apocalyptic if they missed this opportunity to beat the Atlanta Falcons for people. But instead, John Parker Romo misses an extra point. They escape with the win. And it's all rainbows and unicorns. I'm just saying the line between, as we all know as sports fans and media folks, the line between exhilaration and it just complete cataclysm is tiny. But the only thing that would have changed if they lost this game, the only thing that would have changed was their record. They're still the same team that they were if they lost 25-24 or 24-23.
Is there a blow to their confidence, though? It's a young team. It's a new coach. It's a young quarterback. If they lose this game, the quarterback's getting all kinds of questions about ball security and are the turnovers coming back? Is he reverting to the quarterback he was last year? That strip sack is as sneaky as it was for Jalen Walker to knife through the line that way.
So sneaky.
He admitted it after. I just got to pull that football close to my chest and just go down. It's the one thing you can't do. That and a pick six in that situation. You're getting the ball to start the second half. So he knows it. And I think we'd all look at it and we say, boy, this offense without Kayshon Boutte, first of all, they've allowed 12 sacks in the last 2 weeks. They've got 3 turnovers now from the quarterback. And without Kayshon Boutte, they can't score in the second half.
But we could still say all those things.
We can say all those things,
So,
but it becomes more of the story if they lose. I think all those things are worth talking about. And I think against a better team, if they play like that against the Bucs, they'll lose. Period. They play like that against the Bills, they lose.
So we're joy suckers.
No, I'm just saying that's
No. Bill,
I think Mike Vrabel would acknowledge that too, don't you?
Oh, no, I think you're exactly right. But but you're not saying be on the lookout for joy suckers. Mike's saying be on the lookout for the joy suckers.
I think
We're happiness leeches.
I think he's just saying, listen, enjoy it like you would enjoy any other win. But he's also going to have a litany of things for them to be able to correct going into this week, which he didn't necessarily have after some of those other wins against lesser opponents.
You know what? It's probably easier to correct somebody after, say they get a 93 on a test, and it's easier to sit down with them afterwards and talk about the things that would have gotten them to or an 88, whatever, than if they failed the test and then you have to go over the mistakes. And this is a pass-fail league. So you passed it and you can go over the mistakes as opposed to failing it and then go over the mistakes. And the guy, oh stink. I'll never pass.
Right. And I think that does matter. And I do think it's a sign of maturity to some degree to be able to make that play at the end to win the game, to get the defensive stop that you need. You had some help from an intentional grounding, but you did get that stop that you needed. So there is positive even at the very tail end of it, because if you don't make all of those plays that you needed to make to escape, then you don't escape.
What's your biggest concern then? Rolling right into that. Hits?
The hits on the quarterback are a concern to me, and I feel as though, you tell me what you think. They feel some of them avoidable because some of them feel like the quarterback looking to escape and looking to run, and then he takes a 0-yard sack or he takes a 1-yard sack. So that to me feels like it should be an easy fix, but again, it's 2 weeks in a row of 6 sacks. Very quickly, my other concern on the other side of the ball is it just felt like, especially in the second half, Michael Penix had way too much time in the pocket. And so they've got 4 guys up front, Tom. I'm a little concerned, if I'm them, that I'm running them into the ground. Kayvon Chason, Harold Landry, Christian Barmore, Milton Williams. Those are their pass rushers. They don't really get any sort of pass rush from anyone else. And I don't think it's any coincidence. The first drive of the game, Kayvon Chason is playing like a man on fire. He can't be blocked. He's got a sack. He's got a pressure, 3 and out. Oh, my gosh, this guy looks like an all-pro. And then by the end of the game, they're getting nothing from that unit, essentially. I have to go back and check. Maybe there were a couple of pressures here and there. But I really think this game highlighted the fact that they needed a pass rusher, which is something a lot of people, myself included, have been saying leading up to the trade deadline here.
Was Kyle Van Noy a trade deadline acquisition?
He was, yeah, from the Lions way back in the day.
Perfect fit, that type of player. And the Ravens aren't going to give him up. He's a starter. He's out there all the time. But a Kyle Van Noy-esque type player from somebody, not Jalen Phillips, maybe not Bradley Chubb, but if you can find a pass rusher, former second-round pick, who's hanging around on somebody's team.
Not playing a lot.
Yep. If you can find Mike Vrabel at the trade deadline, we've talked about this before. I think Mike Vrabel needed Mike Vrabels on this team, and he kind of found him with Mac Hollins, for instance, is a Mike Vrabel in terms of a guy who was blocked out, not being used a lot. But here you have a home. You'll get reps. So
that's a good project. Maybe we should look into that next couple days. Who are the Mike Vrabels or Kyle Van Noys out there that maybe we haven't been talking about that might be worthy of pursuit?
Yeah, we're going to hear a shit ton about the sacks. 12 in the last 2 weeks, as I mentioned. All sacks are not created equal. Those sacks that you mentioned, I don't think it really matters if May says, okay, you know what, I'm not going to throw this away. I'm going to see if I can get some yards here. And he doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage and it's a loss of 1. That doesn't bother me as long as he's not getting blasted during that sack. It's just a -1 run, basically, even though he dropped back to pass. It's the getting blasted or getting chased. Did you see a lot of that today? I'll just say a couple of weeks ago, Vrabel said we were either getting no pass, we were either getting no pressure or instant pressure, and that happened today.
It did. There were a couple of games up front in the first half where it looked like they were running them on the right side of the Patriots' offensive line. It looked like Mike Owenu was having trouble catching the end. Again, Jalen Walker's incredibly quick. That's a very difficult athletic matchup, Jalen Walker versus Mike Owenu. The Falcons have some really athletic pass rushers. Leonard Floyd actually had to leave the game with an injury, but he's another one. Long, good speed, good quickness. So, yeah, there were some issues there on those games. There was a play where Will Campbell looked like he might have got a little bit banged up. I think it was on a Travion Henderson run, and then on the very next play they dropped back to pass, and Jalen Walker got up underneath his pads and basically drove Will Campbell immediately right back into Drake Maye's lap. So those are the types of plays that I think are a little bit more concerning. Does the style of play from Maye, though, that leads to some of those short sacks where he's holding the ball, pat, 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 then go look for a scramble, is there something there that Josh McDaniels should be looking at and saying, okay, we're not necessarily moving in the right direction here, Drake, when it comes to this sort of stuff? Or is it just, hey, this is who he is. He's athletic. He's going to look to extend plays and throw down the field. You've just got to be willing to take some of those negative plays with that style of play that leads to all the explosive stuff.
I lean toward we're just going to live with it. As long as he's not falling forward and taking headshots as he goes to the ground. I don't mind the struggling forward and you get pulled under by an alligator on your legs type thing. If he's falling forward, he's flopping, that's fine. He's not running around to the side and indecisive as to whether or not he's going to throw it or he's not Bledsovian, wandering as he goes toward the sideline, not sure what he's going to do. When he says the party's over here and I don't see anybody and I'm not going to whip it into the cheerleaders on the sideline, I'm going to just climb the pocket and see how far I get. And if he goes, he goes. So I don't mind those as much. We'll be interested to see if they do. Bijan Robinson, 12 carries, 46 yards. Falcons were barely even able to get into their playbook because of the time of possession, lack of first downs that they generated in the first half. The Patriots had way more plays run. See, these are the indicators. I'm like, those are the numbers you look at. And you're like, the Patriots were dominating the game until that sneak attack.
Well, and they had, offensively, when they were moving the ball, it was, boy, just huge shot down the field to Drake London, or another one-handed catch from Bijan Robinson. Those guys are freaks. I mean,
they were 1 for 10 on third
players.
down. They were 1 for 10 on third down. The Falcons were. They only had 288 yards of total offense. So it's like,
so you're encouraged by that.
I'm encouraged.
It's funny, you
by
could
that.
look at it both ways and be like, boy, they were only 1 for 10 on third down, and it was still a 1-point game. Should have been going overtime.
You know what I look at it as? What you were just talking about. You have a freak out there having one of his best games as a pro, probably, in Drake London, and you have Bijan Robinson playing with confidence because he's like, I can make some plays against this defense. So, it's a mix. But I also wonder too, are the Patriots good enough at safety?
I think it's a fair question.
There's a lot of shit going on out there with some explosives.
They've had a hard time, especially against tight ends this year. I thought Kyle Pitts actually might be a bigger factor in this game than he actually was.
Mm-hmm.
He did catch, was it their 1 third down conversion?
Well, he had one stupid drop.
He had a stupid drop, but he also had a great sort of lunging catch
for
a first down that was sort of on the left hash for a first down, I believe. So, yes, they could use a safety the same way they could use a pass rusher, the same way they could use a running back, the same way they maybe now could use a receiver if Kayshon Boutte's going to miss time. If this is a 2-month hamstring injury, the one like Christian Gonzalez had at training camp, I think you need a down the field threat. That's what Drake Maye does best. That is arguably the best thing that he does is throw down the field. And if they don't have Kayshon Boutte, I don't know who that guy is consistently. It could be Pop Douglas, but he's a little bit different kind of deep threat. He feels like a little bit more of this is not a derogatory term, but he's a little bit more of a gadget guy, double move guy, right?
Slow developing routes.
Longer, extended sorts of plays, scramble drill situations down the field. So they're thin at so many positions, Tom. Safety would be on the list for me.
Should the injuries to Ramondre Stevenson and Kayshon Boutte impact and Christian Ellis too, impact how they act on Tuesday with the trade deadline? Not act, whether they're active. You can act however you want.
How much you talking? How much you want to give away? How much you willing to spend to fill those spots?
I don't know, man. I heard Hibbert talking on the pregame, Albert Breer, saying they still think it's a process and they're not going to sacrifice the process for an easy fix. Look at Washington as a cautionary tale because they went all in on a number of players like Deebo Samuel, who's the corner?
Bobby Wagner at linebacker, Marshawn Lattimore at corner.
Right.
Yes.
They went all in on a number of players saying, well, he's on his rookie contract. Let's make a move here. And now they regret it. I don't know if they regret it drastically, but I do think that the Patriots, with May on a rookie contract and a wide-open AFC, should be more than a little aggressive. They probably should be more than aggressive. They should feel desperate not to leverage the next 4 years, but they should say, if we can identify somebody who can really friggin' help us, we should get them. Whether it's pass rush, whether it's multiple places. They should be desperate at these places that could in turn wins into losses over the next few weeks.
I agree. I would err on the side of aggressiveness because I hate banking on the fact that you know how the future is going to unfold.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. And so you might not have another season where the schedule is this easy and where you end up with 7 wins through 9 games, and you've got one of the best quarterbacks in football who's banged up and may not come back in Joe Burrow, and so that eliminates a contender right then and there. Now you've only got to deal with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and maybe the Ravens. But, those guys are going to be there every year. This is going to be a difficult thing, and so even when you get to the end of your quote-unquote process, is that season going to go as well for you as this one is right now?
You have 11 picks right now in a 7-round draft. Those 11 players aren't going to make the team next year. So you're just going to sit there and throw darts at some kid from Santa Clara. They don't have a football team. to see if he works out, or just, what's the cost?
Let me pose you this. Say they could have Jalen Phillips, pass rusher from the Dolphins, 26, final year of his contract. You're probably going to want to extend him if you give up a pick for him. But you could have Jalen Phillips for a third-round pick, and you could have Rashid Shaheed for a fourth-round pick. And now you've got a deep threat until Booty gets back, and you've got, and I don't know how long Booty's going to be out. This is hypothetical, friends. And you've got a pass rusher who can take some of the load off of Harold Landry, off of Kayvon Chason, help keep those guys fresh, and give you a little extra juice late in the game. Would you be willing to part with like 2 middle-round picks? Those are valuable picks, third and fourth. They're not firsts and seconds. But would you be willing to get rid of those for help right now?
I haven't bought a car with less than 70,000 miles on it in quite some time. So I would probably look for older and more experienced and more easily fit into your system because they want to win in terms of trade targets than Jalen Phillips, who might be, I don't even know the guy. He could be the world's greatest human. So, but I'm just perceiving, I don't want to give up a third-round pick unless I know the guy's going to come in and be an asset to my locker room as well as to my pass rush.
Fair.
And same thing with Shaheed, even more so with Shaheed, not even the locker room, but the wide receiver room. Because Booty wants to get paid.
Right.
And he's been put on the back burner for a couple years. Now he's having some success. And all of a sudden he looks and goes, oh, well, great. Now we got a guy who has a better resume than me is here, and I'm a better player than him, but now he's going to get those just because I hurt my hamstring.
Right.
Guess easy come, easy go.
One hamstring tweak, and now I'm out of a job.
Yeah.
I see how it is.
So
I'm not saying that I
Phillip
believe that.
I went Phillip Dorsett and Kyle Van Noy.
No.
I mean,
You don't.
facsimiles.
You want Van Noy.
Facsimiles.
Yeah.
Probably not Phillip Dorsett.
But listen, I understand what you're saying. And that to me feels like the sweet spot of aggressiveness. If you want to be aggressive and try to make the most of the season, to me, it is those kind of middle round additions that can, if you need it, play starter snaps for you, whether it's on the edge or at running back. Say Breece Hall. Maybe it's not Rashid Shaheed for the fourth because Booty's fine. Maybe it's Breece Hall for a fourth. Would you be willing to do that? I might be willing to do that.
I would be willing to do that because then you might be able to find a guy who's pissed off at his old team, and you can sign him. I don't know.
And those are, I think, relatively steep prices for both guys, believe it or not. Like, Phillips is in the last year of his deal. You're getting half a season. You're going to give up a third. The Dolphins are reportedly looking for a third-round pick for half a season.
So that's a lot
guy.
To give up, right?
It is. But,
yeah,
now you have the opportunity to extend him. He's top 15 in pressures and pressure rate. He's played 400 snaps this year, even though he's had season-ending injuries the last 2 years. He was a first-round pick, all kinds of length.
I would be a fourth-rounder below shopper.
I think that's fair. I think third, it would have to be the right guy for you to be willing to part with a third-round pick. Because third round, that's a great place to find, say, a starting interior offensive lineman. And you might need one next year. If you're planning on bumping Jared Wilson back to center eventually and you want to get a guard. You should be able to find contributing players at a lot of different positions. Kyle Williams should eventually be able to contribute for them. He really hasn't yet.
No.
But that's a third-round pick. And that you get 4 years of them at a low, low cost. So those picks are valuable, and I understand why they want to hold on to them. I wouldn't just look at this season and say, well, we weren't expecting to be here, and we got to stick to our plan. So even if we're first in the conference, let's not get crazy here. Let's not do anything rash.
Don't get crazy.
Crazy is one thing. I would be just like a hair below go crazy in terms of your trade deadline aggressiveness.
The American Football Conference playoff landscape as it stands now, with the Patriots having played 9 games, more than halfway through the year, 12 if you include the preseason, 12 out of the 20 scheduled they've played. Pardon me. It's been a long one. Patriots are actually third in the AFC. Why? Well, very simple. They are now 7-2, as are the Colts and the Denver Broncos. Conference record separates the Colts. That's the first tiebreaker. Colts only have 1 conference loss. Patriots and Broncos have 2 conference losses. The next tiebreaker after conference record is strength of victory, which means you look at the teams that the Patriots and Broncos have beaten, and you add up the total wins with those teams. Interestingly, the Patriots have beaten teams that have combined for nine wins. That's what happens when you're beating the Jets and they haven't beat the Jets yet, have they? The Dolphins and whatever that Flotsam and Jetsam is. And 19.5 is the total wins for Denver because they beat somebody who tied. I can't remember who tied. You remember? Dallas did tie. They tied the Green Bays. So that's a common team that Denver has played. So Denver's at 19.5.
Okay.
Patriots are at 19. They are – listen to the combined strength of victory of the Patriots. The combined strength of victory for the Patriots is 328. Okay.
328. That's not very good. That's a win every 3 games.
You want to hear something even more embarrassing? And Buffalo's is going to change. They're playing Kansas City right now. Things are going good. But Buffalo's coming into this game was 286. So basically 29% winning percentage. And not surprisingly, the toughest schedule belongs to a team that's not winning. It's Jacksonville in the 8th spot, 559.
How about that Panthers win, though, for the Patriots? That looks better and better with every week.
The Giants' strength of victory is 709. Well, they've only won twice. So it must have beaten 2 6-win teams.
I love watching Tom do math in real time. If you're watching on YouTube, you just got a chance to see it, too. It's one of my favorite things. Every single week. Some kind of math that's being done in real time. And it's the learning. You just appreciate learning so much, which I respect. You know, it's a lifelong pursuit for you. And it feels like when you're doing things like the exercises that you just went through, I just said goodbye to you. I just sent you down that path all by your lonesome. I said, see you on the other side, friend. And now we're here. And now I can tell you how much I appreciate how much you love to learn.
And I'm not good with math. Like, I'm not good with algebra. I'm not good with long problems because I have an attention issue. All right, last thing, folks. I want you to hear my prediction from the pregame. Pregame live. This is me predicting the exact score of the Patriots win. Now, there's an asterisk involved with my prediction, but I absolutely nailed the win. 24-23 Patriots. We're going to let it roll. I'm going to be honest with you, folks. It's very important to me to win the season event. And I have one to throw away here. I'm going to do it because I know what these guys are going to do. They're going to go Patriots. So I'm going to go Atlanta Falcons, 24-23. But it's the Patriots, 24-23.
But why would you do that?
Because I want to win.
So you're taking a shot.
But if you want to win, why throw one away here?
No, I'm not throwing it away because I'm going to have a huge bulge by the end of this game.
All right.
See, I told you I got it right.
You did get it right. I'm surprised this is the first we're hearing of it. You got the score right. Nailed. Dead on. 24-23. They don't call him the nose for nothing.
Well, it really wasn't because I took Atlanta, remember?
You did take Atlanta, but you got the score.
But I said I'm taking Atlanta, but I only did that to enhance my bulge.
Right. I forgot about that. Today was the battle of the bulge, and you nailed it. Score-wise, not game-wise. So Holly and I will make up a game there. You know, I get crap from like my son's friends for my record with the picks because it's been so bad. But that's another W for me today. I'm going to be in the win. I'm going to be in the black next week, 5-4 on the season. That's
you know
not
what?
Horrible.
So you came up a winner today, and you came up a winner in more than one way, Phil.
I did. I'm now everybody's favorite person at the office because we had the incredible opportunity to get the fine folks from Novara to provide us with lunch. Novara Milton, absolutely one of my favorite spots, a go-to spot of mine in Milton, East Milton Square, very easy to find, right off the highway, just as easy to fall in love with, Tom. And I think you fell in love with the short rib today.
Oh, my God.
I fell in love with the gnocchi, which was just tremendous, and the short rib and the chicken marsala and the chicken parm, and they do a phenomenal job. It's a phenomenal place. So Jay hooked it up with for us. Sean Driscoll, the whole Novara team over there.
Guy.
They do an unbelievable job. So we appreciate you, Novara. Thank you so much. It just go check it out. Go watch a game there. Take your family there. You could do. I could take you on a just a nice lunch, middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday, Players' Day off, and it would feel totally. It's that kind of spot. You can bring anybody, and just have a fantastic meal.
Bring anybody. I could even bring you.
I could even bring you. Yeah.
Well,
that would obviously be a weird thing.
Phil brought Curran.
Yeah, Phil. Don't these guys see each other enough?
I'm having the gnocchi. I'll be asleep in 15 minutes. That gnocchi was rich and delicious.
Gnocchi. You got to roll the G
I
in
don't know
there.
why you say that.
Gnocchi.
Gnocchi? Yeah, it's Italian.
It's
You've been to
Italian.
Italy. I've never been out of the country.
Gnocchi.
Meanwhile, we'll get into the Patriots simulating snap counts as the week progresses. Raheem Morris, Michael Penix talking about the Patriots simulating a snap count with a clap of the hands, which led to the early snap catching Michael Penix by surprise, and he immediately said,
I still haven't seen a replay of that. I want to see it.
Of the play?
No, of the Patriots simulating the snap count.
No, we don't even know that happened. But it's supposed to be a 15-yard penalty for sending, quote, disconcerting signals. Raheem Morris, tongue firmly in cheek, said, yeah, they did a nice job. They simulated a snap. The ball came early, was snapped early. Within that snap, that was when we got the intentional grounding. Nice job by those guys. Great situational football. Got to snap the ball. That's why the ball was snapped early on Mike. Wasn't ready for the snap. Okay, you passive-aggressive son of a biscuit shooter. Hey, good for him. Imagine what Vrabel would say.
Milton Williams says, this is according to Mass Live, I think both their guards were out, which they were. Both guards were banged up in this game. I think their communication might have been off. One of them probably tapped him or something. I'm going off the ball. I'm down, ready to go. So when he snaps it, I'm gone. He threw it in the dirt. I'm talking to the ref like, hey, man, I knew it was getting to that point in the game. That was big for us. So anyway, Milton Williams blaming it on the substitutions that the Falcons had to make up front. The Falcons saying they clapped. I still have not seen a replay of the Patriots clapping, but maybe it's out there. Let's go look.
Folks, you know the Patriots are back when they are being accused of cheating. We have a trade deadline show on Tuesday. It'll be live on YouTube Live, and we'll be talking with you again on Patriots Talk Podcast, which will be at 6 o'clock on Tuesday. Peace out, Girl Scouts.